In 2017, over 10% of the world's population had a mental health disorder. These could be anything from depression, postnatal blues, post-traumatic stress and anxiety disorders on one spectrum, ranging to bipolar and schizophrenia, to name just a few, on the other side. But while there is increasing awareness, what is troubling is the difficulty in realizing that mental health is as important as physical well-being. In 2017, the same year that 8 million people around the world were identified as having a mental health disorder, Nathali Devinka published her book, Naked and Exposed, a short memoir on her personal experience battling mental illness. She's a filmmaker, author, and mental health advocate, but through this book, she simply wants to help others find ways to live with it and hopefully take one step closer to giving one more person the realization that you are not alone. Nathali, it's lovely to have you on Kaleidoscope Selling Life. Let's talk. Just looking at the book that you published, you call it Naked and Exposed, a memoir of a troubled mind. How troubled was your mind that you actually wanted to expose yourself in this new raw state?
Honestly, I didn't have the intention of publishing a book. It was me just writing down how I felt at the time. I was very fragile. I was very depressed. I was going through chronic depression, experiencing hallucination. I was really paranoid at the time. So writing down really helped me at the time. And I was working with a lot of images as well. And it was actually when I showed it to my family with a lot of hesitation, it was them who actually pushed me to publish this.
Again, looking at your experience, what was your lowest point and what was your turning point?
It was very consistent. Having low points was a consistent, my mind was consistently low. It was very jammed all the time. I'm currently diagnosed for obsessive compulsive disorder, depression, and anxiety. But I was once diagnosed for schizophrenia as well. So I think it was a lot of trial and error. I've experienced suicidal thoughts ever since I was a kid, and I've attempted at least 10 times. I think it was very recent when I realized the only way, or rather the best way to cope with all these struggles is to accept it. I think that was my turning point. I am still on medication. I don't focus on recovering 100%. I think that was a mistake I did before. It was very frustrating. I was so keen on recovering 100%, which is not possible, which is not necessary.
Is it a cultural dynamic that mental disorders are quickly swept under the carpet? And how can we change it?
In Sri Lanka, it is swept under the carpet because, it's something that is very difficult for a family to deal with. I know a lot of stories of kids who are not being invited to family weddings, who are not who are sort of stuck in rooms. They're not allowed to come out if there's a guest, because there's so much shame attached to mental health issues. It's just like having a migraine or like cancer or diabetes, where you get medication for them, but somehow there's so much shame attached to mental health issues. So I think the main reason why it's swept under the carpet is that shame, and also the fact that it's not something easy to deal with. People consider it that way.
What are the triggers and what signs should families and the community be looking for?
There are so many mental health disorders, and each individual will have unique symptoms. It's a very individual experience. Some things you can look out for is being suicidal, isolation, maybe sudden bursts of anger. There's so many change in behavior, loss in appetite. When it comes to me, the number one thing I think my parents or my sisters or my husband notices is I isolate myself, because I feel like I'm a danger to myself and to others.
Mental health disorders and mental health in the bigger picture get little priority in the larger scheme of things. With the pandemic, the problem has exacerbated. Given that the healthcare system is anyway overburdened at this point of time fighting the pandemic, how can we as a community be more proactive?
Mostly, I think it's the toxic environments in Sri Lanka at homes that have caused this, and the society. I've been subjected to bullying. I think that was one of the main reasons why it continued for many years. And I witnessed so much as a child. So I suffer from PTSD as well. So I strongly believe it is you, me, everyone else who are responsible for all these outbursts that we have. And the easiest way is to just listen, talk to people more often, try to understand, put yourself in their shoes. There's no better way to be proactive than that.
Thank you so much. I learned a lot, and yes, I just hope everyone will be as patient and will have the ear to listen when things are being told to them. I mean, listening is an art in itself, isn't it? Before we leave you today with those beautiful photographs of the leopard etched in your mind, you must do something for us. Like us on YouTube, subscribe to Kaleidoscope with Savithri Rodrigo, and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
We are here to better your lives and champion your every goal. With 12 billion rupees worth of customer benefits in 2020 and a life insurance fund worth over 100 billion rupees, our strength is your strength. You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Zelenko Life.